Hi there. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 reasons why my family moved from California to Utah not that long ago, and we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Mariah here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. This channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If that is of interest to you, consider subscribing down below so you don't miss our weekly videos. We hear from people like you all the time who are relocating or looking to make a move here to Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking about making a move in a month, in 6 months, and 8 months, and a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. And if you tell us a few specific things that you are looking for, we can pinpoint an area that would be best for you and your family. Okay, so it doesn't feel like that long ago, even though it's been a couple of years now. It doesn't feel that long ago that my husband and I were sitting in California. We were in San Diego. We had been there for almost 14 years, I think at the time, 14 or 15 years at the time. And we lived in a great neighborhood, in a great community. We both had great jobs. Everything just was great. And we were in sunny San Diego. I mean, really, you can't really go wrong with that. And before we were having this conversation, we had actually purchased an investment property out here in Utah that we were using for a short-term rental. And it was, it ended up working out great. And so, of course, one day COVID ends up hitting and everything in San Diego kind of shuts down. And our house that we felt like was a good size at the time in San Diego, our walls just felt like they were kind of caving in. And, obviously we weren't able to go to the beach, and we weren't able to go to the little local parks, and we weren't able to even really go outside, which was fine for the time, right? But after, our kids were at home and being homeschooled for that extended period of time, just like so many of you, I'm sure you're probably remembering this very well, right? Well, at that time, our short-term rental that we had here in Utah, all of those nightly, weekly rentals, everybody had backed out over time. So, we had a lot of bookings, and each one just, nope, sorry, can't make it, which we totally understood, and the timing of it all. Well, my husband and I were sitting on the couch one night, and we had just put the kids to bed, and I looked at him and he looked at me, and we kind of just said like, hey, what if we were to just go to Utah for a little bit and just kind of try it out, and we'll just live in the house and we'll just see, what things are like. And he's like, yeah, great. I mean, that sounds great. We're still homeschooling the kids. Everybody's working from home anyway. Let's just try it out. So we come out here to Utah, and it was not a couple of weeks, and my kids were already like, oh, we love this. Like, this is great. Why? We felt like we were living our best life, even though you couldn't see anybody, but we were still able to go to the parks. We were able to, the kids had a backyard that they were able to run around in. And so really it kind of started for us of discovering, and actually one of my kids was just saying this the other day. They were like, hey, Mommy, do you remember when we first moved here, we went to a new park every day? I said, you're right. We totally did do that. And so I got a list. I Googled all the parks that were within like, half hour to an hour radius of our house. And then each day, I would say to the kids, I'd be like, okay, so after we're done with our schoolwork, let's go find another park to explore. And so we just started exploring all these different parks. And so of course my kids came up with a ton of different nicknames for the parks too. And it was like, okay, can we go to the baseball park today? Can we go to the dinosaur park today? Hey, can we go, so they just ended up coming up with all these different names. One of their favorite ones was the space park, and just so many different parks here in Utah. And for us, we just felt like the number of outdoor activities, the number, the parks that were here were just unbelievable. So for us, number one, moving out here for Utah, like to Utah, was the parks and recreation. We felt like hands down just didn't compete with what, you know, where we were living before or where we were before. And yes, there was lots of, you know, there are a lot of great things to do in San Diego, and we still love San Diego so much. But for us and our family, Utah has been such an incredible fit for us. And like I said, the parks and recreation are amazing. Number two, that goes really right along with parks and recreation, for us, was just the family-friendly environment that we have experienced here in Utah. Coming from California, we started, you know, we've got six people in our family. So my husband and I and our 4 kids. And it seemed like, you know, if we went and did an activity in San Diego, it was great. It was just always like pretty costly. Here in Utah, there are so many free or next to free, or, you know, just very affordable activities that I can take my kids to the trampoline park, and it didn't cost me $150 to take them to the trampoline park. In fact, they would, you know, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, Mondays are family night, so get the whole family in to the trampoline park for $40 or $35, whatever it is. Or sometimes there's sibling discounts on things. I remember when we first moved here and I signed my kids up for soccer, there was a sibling discount. There was, you know, an early bird discount. There were just so many family friendly like incentives for that. I went, oh, this is awesome. When we take our kids hiking out here, it's so awesome. There are a ton of different trails. We love using an app called All Trails, and this is not being sponsored, but All Trails has been awesome for our family because we're able to look on it. It will usually tell you to, like, yes, this is a, you know, this is a beginner hike. This is an intermediate hike. This is more advanced. It will also tell you like if it's wheelchair accessible, or, you know, and it will tell you like the distance. So for us, we still, like with our kids, my kids like to do beginner sort of hikes, but we can find one that's a mile long or 2 miles long. And so for us, that has just been incredible. And just the, you know, the family friendly, like I said, the recreation, the outdoors, but very family friendly. When you go different places too, here in Utah, it is not uncommon, like I said, to have multiple discounts for families, and just being able to get like a family pass for a lot of different things. And that family pass will include multiple kids. So I know in some places it's like, okay, you know, it'll be two adults or 2 guardians, and then it'll be 2 kids. Well, here in Utah, it's usually like adults, guardians, plus whoever else you're bringing. And then even like some of these other passes that they have here too, they will do like grandparent passes where you can have like the grandparents be a part of it. So they really just make it extremely family friendly. Going along, number 3 with family friendly is going to be the parades and celebrations here in Utah. My kids, like, they think this place is, every time something else happens, they're like, Mom, we just can't stop partying here in Utah. Like, all we do is party in Utah. And when they're talking about partying, really, it's just all of the different festivals, the different parades, the different celebrations, just the different activities that are here. Recently, we took our kids to Swiss Days, which is in Midway, Utah, which is just a little bit south of Park City, Utah. Every year they've got a great, it's such a fun festival, and they've got a parade there in the morning. They have like booths all set up, and they have these little vendors, and a lot of them are local vendors selling books and crafts and arts and all, you know, just photography, you name it. Really, there is a booth that with somebody selling something, and my kids think it is so fun. It's great to just be out in these small communities and enjoy that. At the parades, they're throwing otter pops and candy, and they just really make it. And they've got lots of music, and they've got races in the morning, like a 10K race or a 5K race. And just the parades, the celebrations, they make things here really fun. In the fall time, there are so many different pumpkin patches And during the holiday season, you've got different music and you've got just so many different things here in Utah. So they know how to celebrate here, that's for sure. Going along with parades, number 4, and actually I didn't even know this. I had heard about it before we moved here to Utah, but I didn't realize how cool these parades were. So number 4 are the Parade of Homes that are here in Utah. Now the Parade of Homes it's really what it is. It's a showcase for builders, a showcase for architects and designers and all of that. And what ends up happening is there are a certain number of homes in a certain region that you pay $15 or $20 to get your ticket, and you get to go tour the different houses. So you get to walk through these different houses, and really these parades are incredible. Every year in February, they have the St. George area Parade of Homes, and usually that covers, St. George and Hurricane, and it just kind of all of those surrounding areas down in St. George. In Salt Lake City, they have the same thing, and it'll be all the areas around Salt Lake City. And it really gives you a good idea too of like different neighborhoods, like, oh, could I picture myself in like this area or this neighborhood or this city? And then they do the same thing for the Utah Valley Parade of Homes, which is just in Utah County. And then they do the same thing for the northern Salt Lake. So like Ogden area and Bountiful, all of those that are up north of Salt Lake City. And then you've got the Park City Showcase of Homes, and same thing. They just showcase, builders and architects and designers. And it is something that you will love. If you love touring homes like I do, you will absolutely love it. 5, last but not least, this might sound kind of crazy, but one of the reasons that we ended up moving out here was the 4 seasons. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we love the 4 seasons. We were in San Diego, like I said, for 15 years, and 70 degree and sunny was so nice. It really was so nice. But something that they didn't tell you about living in San Diego is in May, there's something called May gray, where there's just kind of like this fogginess really. And then in June, you have something called June gloom, and it's same, like just a real low cloud cover, and you really don't see the sun very close to the coast. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was like, so Mariah, we took our family from Utah to San Diego. We ended up there in June, and it was cold and cloudy. We could not believe it. And nobody told us about that. And then we get there and all the locals are like, oh yeah, well, it's June gloom. And it was just funny. So there were a couple months out of the year where we remember being like, oh, I don't remember this. And the 70 degree sunny weather that you just always picture in San Diego, there is a lot of that for sure. But for us, both my husband and I grew up in Northern California, and it didn't snow where we were, but we definitely had a change of seasons. And so coming out here to Utah, we were like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Like fall, I love fall. I love the change of seasons. I love the change in colors of the trees, and on the mountains really end up looking spectacular in the fall, because you'll see the orange and yellow and the green. And every time I'm driving my kids to school, I'm like, oh, you guys, look at the mountains. They're so beautiful. And the kids are like, Mom, stop talking about the mountains again. I'm like, no, look at, they're just so gorgeous. But then honestly, you roll right from fall, you roll into the winter, and then the winter, you're like, the snow-capped mountains are just so majestic and so beautiful. And we're skiing with the family, which is incredible. And then you move right into spring, and spring is actually, for me personally, spring is pretty comfortable, where same thing, like, so 2 of my kids wear shorts to school every day, regardless of whether it's snowing or not. I've tried, but they are like, Mom, it's really not that cold. I'm like, okay, well, at least please take a jacket, will you? So, but just, the spring, you've got crisp air, but it's I don't know, it's lovely. And then Utah summers, I always say, are magical. Yes, it does get a little bit hot, and there's times where you're like, okay, it's kind of uncomfortable hot that I don't really want to be outside. but a lot of times they, the kids are still playing outside and soccer practice and all of those things too. But Utah summers, it stays light, which feels like forever. At 9 o'clock at night, it's still light out, and my kids are trying to convince me, Mom, it's really not bedtime because it's still light out. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's actually bedtime. Sorry, friends. So just the different change in seasons for us personally, we have loved it these last couple of years of just having the different change, and it just has been a really magical thing. So I know for us, the family friendly, the recreation, the different seasons, the different parades, all those different things that Utah has to offer has been, again, a great fit for us and our family. It might not be the right fit for you and your family, but if you are thinking about making a move, or you're thinking, I kind of just want to check it out and see if it's the right fit for my family and I, please come on out. I would love to connect with you. My team and I would love to connect with you, and we can see if, Utah might be a right fit. Give us a few things of what you're specifically looking for, and we can pinpoint areas that might be a good fit for you. So again, if you're thinking about making a move or relocating, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and it would be our absolute pleasure to connect with you. Take care and have a great one. Bye.